Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Barcast TV and to a very special episode. I've gone ahead and gotten these two players to play a best of three match, which is what we're going to observe today. And I would like to introduce our special co-caster, none other than Professor Barr.
Hello, hello, boys. Happy to be here.
Yes, sirs. Thank you for joining. I really enjoyed the 3v3 casts we got to do together the other week, so I thought it'd be cool.
Me too.
Yeah, so here we are again.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I'll let you introduce the players and let's get going.
Yeah, so we have spawning in the bottom left side of the map, playing as the red pieces, none other than Teddy, spawning as the armed commander, and his opponent spawning in the top right side of the map, playing as the blue armed commander. We have ZLO.
All right, and already we see ZLO is going to open vehicles, and yeah, Teddy is too. Who do you think has the edge here in this matchup, ZLO versus Teddy?
Sorry, they're both vehicles. That's a tough question. They're both so strong, really. That's kind of why I wanted to see them play a series. But I'm gonna fanboy a little bit and just say Teddy has the advantage.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. He had such a strong showing in the 3v3 tournament that I'm kind of fanboying for him a bit right now, even though he didn't win. Right? Spoiler, sorry.
Spoilers, yeah,
But,
no worries.
But yeah, I do think Teddy should have an edge. But yeah, like you said, ZLO really, really strong. And yeah, I'm just taking a look at their openings. Not a lot of rovers quickly, but yeah, Teddy a bit more aggressive with the rovers here.
Yeah, two so far.
Yeah, he should have a bit more of an understanding of what ZLO is up to, which is good. But if he doesn't get any damage done, it's technically wasted resources. So you still don't only want to have you want to slow the expansions basically.
Yeah,
Right.
and of course, like find where they're spawning at. There's a couple different locations you can spawn on this map, and seeing what matchup you're in. So like, I don't know exactly what adjustments you would make, but of course, like if you're playing vehicles versus bots, it's a little bit different than like vehicles versus vehicles or armed vehicles versus core vehicles, what have you. So just getting that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Teddy knows. I think on this map you have to kind of open on the front, don't you, in a 1v1? Or maybe they even played the presets, dual presets.
The duel sets you back in the extreme bottom left and top right. Yeah, those three mixes.
Okay.
So
they did play with the okay.
Preset and
Shenanigans were possible.
I would agree though that these are more optimal spawning locations, just because your factory is farther forward on the map, which in turn gives you like faster expansions. So
Yeah, exactly. You get your units a bit faster out, and a small skirmish up very close to Teddy ZLO's base. He's not happy about this. If he gets a snipe here, it's huge.
he's getting the double damage on that. A couple rovers come up to
Yes.
clean that up, and yeah, so nice catch.
Yeah, nice catch by ZLO. That could have been very unfortunate because he really needs the expansions to get going at this point, especially against Teddy, right? Which is such a scary opponent.
I'm really
Nice.
surprised Teddy actually opened vehicles because we saw him open bots like almost every map, every matchup in that 3v3 tournament. So I'm just curious to know why he actually went bots, or excuse me, vehicles this matchup.
That's actually true. What I'm surprised by is how many rovers he's doing. Like, isn't he gonna switch to blitzes soon? Like, he should have the income at this point now.
Mm-hmm.
He's just spamming so many rovers. Meanwhile, ZLO, he's scaling a lot harder on construction bots though. Playing a bit more greedy here. We'll see if it pays off. But Teddy is definitely gonna get a few maxes here to slow him down. So good work there.
He didn't get the construction bot, so that's I suppose the one saving grace. We see that in the top right corner, continuing to add on those expansions. So
Yeah, but Teddy's expanding way slower right now than ZLO. If you look, like ZLO is trying to get all of the nexus everywhere at the same time, and Teddy's expanding a lot slower.
right. It's a very interesting style. We see even like a fourth construction bot trying to get sniped by these rovers here. They're diving into the main base, getting another mechs for their troubles, perhaps another wind turbine. Now that commander's gonna shoo those away for now.
Yeah, I mean it's looking like ZLO is losing, right? But to be fair, Teddy needs to do this damage to be on equal terms because of the expansion rate of ZLO right now. So I actually think it's kind of even still. But if he gets more damage right now, it might spell doom for ZLO though. He needs to stop the bleeding at this point.
It's a lot of pressure too, and of course ZLO hasn't had the opportunity to scout the other side of the map and see exactly where he's at. So he doesn't know how greedy, or I guess not greedy, Teddy is playing. So it can really throw you off.
I have an idea, considering the amount of units coming through, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, by putting on the pressure, Teddy's actually not like he doesn't have to defend as much because he's basically on the other side of the map, forcing ZLO to respond rather than take initiative.
Yeah, of course.
But now, finally, ZLO is stabilizing because Teddy is actually expanding now, meaning he produced less units for a moment. And yeah, this now Teddy's gonna have to defend for a while here.
That's right.
Let's see if he manages.
We see one blitz trying to catch his construction bot before that LOT finishes. I think ZLO rightly is just going to pull back from that. He doesn't want to lose it. Unfortunately, he's going to run right into another LOT and get taken out.
And funnily enough, it's the only LLTs Teddy built basically. Like he's building new ones now, but like those two are the only ones actually finished, except the one in his base. So very well placed by Teddy. Like placing them exactly where he needs. A very smart placement for sure.
See this run by on the left side. That's kind of unfortunate. I think ZLO waited a few seconds to bring those units in, and that gave Teddy just enough time to get out a few extra units to defend this in time. So, not the most counter damage.
No, but he does get the info that bottom left is not taken, which is good, and he is going to get more here with the surviving blitz. That's actually huge because there's no construction anywhere close, meaning... Yeah, he's gonna lose a lot of time here. He's gonna have to pull another construction bot down there. And
Yeah, he's gonna lose a few more mexes, and that really kind of like Teddy got enough. He got enough damage in the early harassment stage, but considering his expansions were a little slow, this is a huge pickup by ZLO, and they're actually dead even on mass. So 5.2k mass produced for each player.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly even. That's interesting. But it does feel like ZLO should pull away on metal produced right now because he's stabilized, and Teddy really needs this small run by to do some damage, some kind of damage here, or he's gonna be behind here in terms of eco because he just lost everything and he's nothing to rebuild just yet. He has one that's working on it, but one is gonna take so long to take all those mexes back.
Yeah, absolutely. Teddy's trying to get a construction turret up in the main base. I'm wondering if that's going to give him the timing to move out with his commander. I know either lane on that side of the crack is just a good place to kind of position the commander, all that build power. You can, load up some LOTs, secure that lockdown one little portion of the board.
True. The issue Teddy's having, though, he had low energy for a while here, and wind is actually crashing right as we speak, so I don't expect his eco to be better. Luckily, as I said, of course, the wind is picking back up. Caster curse.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
Honestly, yeah, you can see his energy is really low. Again, like, he's kind of struggling here to stabilize his eco properly.
He does have more solar collectors, though. So, I mean, as the wind is kind of increasing now, but I'm not sure at what point in the game he decided to add on up to 5 solar collectors, but I don't think ZLO has any as of yet. Oh,
he's finding damage. He's finding damage right now. That's big for Teddy. He really needs this to do more. How much can he get from this? Maybe another mix would be nice.
Yeah,
maybe 2 would be very nice.
Yeah, picked off a construction vehicle, 1 radar, 1 mechs, and is kind of slithering out of this. I mean, he's trying to avoid these other blitzes, gets another mechs.
Yeah, exactly.
Some good damage. There's a lot of movement on the other side of the map. ZLO's still sharking around. He's 1 blitz hidden in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. A couple of scouts kind of patrolling around.
Yeah, but the fact that ZLO still has blitz to the bottom left is actually insane. Like, he needs to clean this up or he can never take the bottom left, which is very annoying.
Yeah, I mean, if
but I'm surprised, like you said, there's no bots, which means can they even go up the ramps with the vehicles to take the hills? No, they can't. You need bots to go up on the back hills.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is something I prefer opening bots on this map just because of that, because you can cap those 2 mexes and then use that bot to just keep on, like, put your wind turbines up there, and they're pretty safe against the vehicle player.
Yeah, exactly. They can't get raided by blitzes, and don't we know blitzes love to raid those wind turbines, so yeah, it's a big deal.
So to your point, like ZLO has the top right quadrant, but Teddy's done a great job of expanding along the bottom side of the map. So I mean, if we zoom out and look at this map controller, it seems like Teddy actually has a lot more of the board kind of eaten up at this point.
Yeah, Teddy is ahead now for sure. I mean, ZLO stabilized on the top right quadrant, but Teddy has been striking and basically slowing him down enough that he actually didn't expand more for a while. Meanwhile, Teddy actually, yeah, like you said, like the bottom half of the map is completely under his control.
Yeah.
In terms of income, he completely caught up and even like went far ahead of ZLO for a moment. I mean, right now at least in terms of income.
Yeah, I mean it's
But yeah,
about 20% advantage. It looks like somewhere around like 44 to 31. So nice little advantage for our red player.
yeah. But as you looked at the statistics and metal produced, we can see that the stabilization from ZLO put him ahead in metal right now. But Teddy's fast catching up at this point.
Absolutely. Catching another construction bot there on the left side. That's a great pickup. Those are so slow to make as well. So really good
Yeah,
to
that's
pick those
true.
up. Yeah.
It's so annoying when they get picked off. You hate to see it. You have to build another one, send it over there. It's like taking so long, like you said.
It's another reason I like that opening the res bots, or excuse me, opening with bots is like because you can run the res bot over there and res it, and you don't have to like run it all the way across the map. Finally, that blitz is going to be picked off in the
Yeah,
bottom
no,
left.
I was looking at it too. It was so annoying. Yeah, Teddy. We can see it's interesting. He's making in the middle. He's making a lot of towers, right, to protect, and then he's just using the other lanes where he already has units to either try and run by or defend with units.
Right.
So he's basically locking down the middle, so he doesn't have to worry about it, and just trying all the other avenues, just checking where ZLO has towers, where he has defense, where his units, where can he run around, and he's being so active with his units all the time, always doing something, which I struggle with. I'm gonna be honest, when I play 1v1, like, you don't want to idle with your units, but
Oh man,
what do you even do with them?
it's so APM intensive. There's always something to do, and I think that's just the hallmark of a great RTS. Is like you have to. There's the opportunity cost of choosing what to do with your time in limited action. So
Yeah, exactly. One blitz is gonna get through, but there's a laser tower, so it should be dealt with.
there is
No
a
big deal.
huge push moving out from ZLO on the right side of the map. He's got a lot of blitzes, a lot of scouts kind of like sharking around here. I'm sure he's going to be diving in.
Yeah. And there's not enough towers for sure against tanks here. Like, there are a few, don't get me wrong, but like against this many, Teddy knows about this. He does have a radar behind, so he's seeing this, but he saw it too late, I think.
Think
If
so.
you take a look at the Teddy's player view, like the radar doesn't reach that far up. So yeah, he got the info pretty late, so the response is as fast as he can make it, but definitely gonna be rough here.
So another-
Oh, the APM. He's
Oh,
trying. He's
no.
microing on both fronts, and he's stalling on the bottom right. He could do so much damage with it, but there's too much to handle at this moment. Oh, he's finally moving them.
Yeah, we have attacks on both sides of the map. So there's blitzes on the left side, blitzes on the bottom. So ZLO somehow found the enough units to contest both positions on the map.
Yeah, and he's actually gonna deal damage on both sides at this point. This is some great damage. Might put him back in the game, and we can see his commander also in the meantime has pushed up in the middle so far now. He's trying to lock down that part of the map.
Really exposed too, I might add. I mean, we're at the point in the game, 12 minutes 40 seconds. Your commander can be easily sniped, but he has just so much pressure on Teddy's side of the map that he can just kind of freely expand to the middle.
Yeah, that's true. Also, he has a lot of blitzes and reinforcement coming through close by, so I don't think he's too worried. If we take a quick look at his player view, you're right actually, he doesn't have great player information, like he doesn't have great vision here, so maybe a radar wouldn't be amiss.
No, definitely not. Kind of taking a step back, looking at these main bases, you can see ZLO has so much more build power in the main at the moment. I mean, he's got like 5 construction turrets and like so much construction by just powering out units as fast as he can. It's
On the other side, Teddy is actually building, he built a bot lab and he's pumping out some lasers right now. And with the amount of tanks just wrecks laying around on the field of battle, this could be a huge pushback for him against ZLO.
Yeah, those res bots are a lot more efficient, it seems like, on these high wind maps where you can actually utilize their res command, which takes a lot of energy, I might add.
Yeah, do you know the numbers? I actually asked PTAC recently, and he told me to resurrect a unit, you have to pay 50% of the unit cost in energy. You don't pay any metal.
Right,
but 50% is still pretty cheap if you consider you get a free unit.
I'd say so too, and like the build power is where the wreck is, so it doesn't have to like come out of your factory and move across the map. So it's like a really interesting mechanic, I'd say. We don't see this in any other RTS really, like leaving the wrecks and even being able to resurrect units that are destroyed.
Yeah, and I find it so interesting because it gives you a comeback mechanic. Like if you manage to stabilize just for a moment, get access to some reclaims, some wrecks, I mean, you can really like get a snowball going in your favor, and then it can be really tough for your opponent to actually finish you off or just kill you. Like if you push and you overextend, leave all the wreckage for your enemy, even if you did some damage, you better have done some OP damage because they're gonna get so much metal or even free units, right?
There's a big push here in the center from Teddy. He's got pawns mixed into his armies and some medium tanks sprinkling into the field. I think this is still a good trade for Teddy there. I mean, ZLO lined up his blitzes, but there's just such a high concentration.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay, especially because he has enough units to contest the field of wreckage, and he really needs. Oh, he's actually going to relinquish the control of the wreckage here. He's eating as much as he can. Clearly, he knows he doesn't have the time to res anything. Just going to try and reclaim as much as he can. Of that metal. He's getting a lot. ZLO does not see it.
So I mean, they've already paid for themselves and finally end up going down to some Janus shots there. So a really nice trade.
They easily ate 600, 700 metal there. So yeah, definitely paid for themselves.
You have a big detachment of troops from Teddy moving up along the left side of the map. They're going to get spotted by a scout there from ZLO, so he should know this is happening.
Yeah, he's moving up units, but it's not looking enough right now, at least. Like, this could do a lot of damage, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
And it is going to weaken. It is going to weaken the front of ZLO because no reinforcement are going to come. So, yeah, you'll have to watch out for Teddy doing something sneaky.
This is an interesting kind of unit composition choice. We saw ZLO moving into more of like a Janus medium tank, whereas Teddy added on just a bot lab and started producing pawns and just kind of sprinkling in stouts at the moment. Excuse me.
You think we're going to see air? You think we're going to see air? Oh, your camera is lagging a bit?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm not sure. It seems really intense at the moment. It's like, how do you find the time to like get some air units onto the battlefield when you're kind of
that's true.
Trying to contest these medium tanks and Janus out.
Yeah, that's true. Teddy with the push on top. He lost a lot of tanks, but a few make it through, and it's going to be enough to do some economic damage. It's not a lot, though, to be honest, and he gets 2-3 mixes. But he's going to lose all the tanks, meaning ZLO will have all the reclaims, so sure, he loses mixes. Oh, on the left side. Ooh. That's a bold push, but gonna be stopped by Teddy before it even spirals.
He's got 3 Janus in the front that are gonna get picked off for free. That's not the greatest little trade there. I would have liked to see those units microed back, and it's gonna give Teddy the opportunity to get some huge Janus shots off. So really doing a lot of splash damage to those tanks.
And I mean the amount of wrecks. Right now, like Teddy has access to all the huge fight that was on the left side, right? He has complete access. Complete control of the wreckage field, and it's a lot of metal right now.
Oh, yeah, already has one resbot there too, so another one coming up to start bringing this into his coffers.
I actually think he should build way more Lazarus, Teddy. I think he's skimping on them right now, but maybe it's because he doesn't have the energy to actually support more. Like, he's been struggling with energy this game.
It's tough. It looks like wind speed is also dropping down again. So, I mean, I don't see any dedicated construction build power to making additional wind turbines, so...
Yeah, true. He did finally take the hill with the bot lab, and he built wind turbines up top there, like you said.
Saw an EMP. EMP mechs ended up going off. I think that might have been a little bit of a mistake. Paralyzed his own. His own construction.
I mean, you always hope you're gonna be able to use it. But on the right side, we finally see a push with only medium tanks here, showing that the light laser towers are not enough against tanks, but luckily ZLO spotted it and he had unit in position to stop this. But yeah, he's gonna rotate around to try and be tricky here, and he should get some damage done here. Yeah, it seems like at this point the players are stretched thin when it comes to splitting and controlling units. We can see, like, even in the top left corner, there's units, a few ticks.
There's still a few ticks finding damage 20 minutes into the game.
I mean, they're controlling so many different units, it's even hard to cover everything that's going on. And we actually see air from Teddy. He actually switching to air, and we'll see some scouts going over ZLO's base, I mean.
I wonder if he's just kind of looking for some vulnerable wind farms, or just anticipating an air switch of ZLO. But he's getting out a little bit of a fighter screen. We see he's producing some gunships at the moment, so those are going to the
I think he's happy now. He saw 0 air, and yeah, we see gunships. So I think Teddy's happy. He's happy he didn't see any air, and instantly switching to Banshee. I'm not sure Banshee is the way. I think bombers could have also been very good, but Banshee to me means he's afraid of units pushing. He needs something with stop power at this point. Yeah, I'm gonna use the Banshees to clean out the tank in the bottom left.
I've tried experimenting with them, like defending against run bys. They don't do the most DPS, and a lot of units can actually shoot at air units. So you'd be surprised. Like I think blitzes can shoot at that medium tanks. So it's just kind of wild that so many units
blitzes are kind of decent actually at shooting at, in my opinion. Huge challenge shot. Oof.
Got a big fight coming here. So some medium tanks. ZLO's pulling away for now. He doesn't have any Janus in this army, so fortunately can't stand and fight.
Yeah, I'm Teddy actually behind on eco at this moment, even in terms of metal produced total and income. So, I mean, if you discount the, or maybe it was because of the reclaim, but it looked like ZLO had better income. I'm not sure.
It's very close. I mean, I think Teddy's got more of the map. We see he's got a little bit of an advantage in these middle lanes for sure, and I suppose more of like his half.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got a lot of stack defense.
We see the Banshee's gonna go out on the offensive on the top left, and as you said, a lot of units can shoot air, and like the blitzes are dealing with it fine. Like,
yeah, it's really I'm not sure why they kind of intended that to so many units being able to hit air units. I think that's kind of just to make it easier for some players to deal with those units. It can be frustrating if you don't have anti-air.
Yeah, I mean. Against bombers, they're going to be really bad because bombers just run by. But against Banshee, who kind of stand still for a moment and try and shoot, a lot of the shots are going to hit. So
absolutely,
because usually they miss, right? Tank shots going to miss airplanes most of the time. But blitzes are a bit different.
This game is kind of slowing down a little bit. We have a couple of theaters going on right now. On the left side, there's two armies kind of facing each other. In the middle, ZLO is trying to push Teddy off of this middle lane. And he's also rotating units on the right side down to this bottom left lane. Excuse me, bottom right lane.
Teddy actually rebuilt another vehicle lab on the front. I'm surprised he hasn't reclaimed the one in the back, but he's actually producing for two different front lines at this point.
And he's got the units on repeat, just kind of rallying out up onto the front line, like you said. And it's really cool to see how good these players are at getting build power and construction turrets made at these forward factories.
Yeah. And I mean, right now they're fighting on so many different fronts. It's like I don't know how they do it. They're micring top left. They're fighting. They were fighting bottom right now. They stopped, but like, yeah.
I mean, Teddy's got a lot of this map kind of locked down. We see just so much static defense. There's so many units here. I mean, everywhere ZLO has an army, Teddy is kind of matching him in position. So it's going to be interesting to see how either player kind of wins this game moving into the... I guess we're approaching the late game at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Tech 2 units.
Yeah, I'm surprised we actually haven't seen. It's 22 minutes into the game, and like you said, it's been slowing down. And the amount of labs they have actually built, they could just reclaim everything, all the labs, and have a T2 for free. So it's definitely possible, right? And considering the amount of just reclaim and tanks on the map, like 2,500 metal is not that much in this state of the game.
Absolutely. No, we have a little bit of a push coming on the top left. Same for in the center middle. I mean, just trades going on, battles fighting everywhere at the moment.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they feel like they can't leave really one of the fronts truly. But at the same time, I think Teddy wishes he could like rally the middle troops up top left and destroy that army. But
right.
Yeah, it's really rough.
See, some artillery have made their way out onto the field, so that's going to give ZLO the opportunity to shell these center positions from afar. I don't see any artillery in his other army compositions as of yet, so just really putting pressure on the center mid part.
He even added a few whistlers, I believe, for maybe the anti-air and also the vision, of course. It really helps out the artillery.
And that army in the top left kind of got thinned out, and not to mention ZLO's got some beamer turrets to retreat to, so that seems like that lane's kind of locked down, and Teddy's going to be pushing here in the center mid. He's got a big force, some pawns, medium tanks, stepping forward.
And I feel like ZLO, why did he never make... He made a second vehicle lab. Why did he not make a bot lab instead? He really needs to be able to reclaim faster. Like, Resbot would be such a boon for him. And the commanders are actually all in on the action at this point. He really needs to do something. Because this push is scaring him for sure here. And yeah, he's going to pull the middle army, the other army back home, right?
Yeah, and that's going to give Teddy an opportunity to kind of slip some troops through the middle part of this middle side of the map.
Yeah, we see. Yeah, he reacts instantly. He's like, "Oh, you're going away? I'm going to use this." So very good reaction there from Teddy, abusing everything he can. And those tanks, yeah, 3 medium tanks is annoying to deal with in the backline.
Yeah, definitely.
He actually split them up.
We see this
one's not going to be enough, though.
Fight is still happening here in the middle. ZLO's kind of like swinging back with a counter push here. He's trying to chase down Teddy's armor here in the middle center of the board.
The truth is that Teddy's push kind of failed mid, and instead he fed a lot of tanks. And I'm afraid that this top push is going to do the same. And this might give ZLO too much of an advantage at this point. And we see the bottoms falling for Teddy. I'm going to be real here. It's not looking good for Teddy. He needs the top push to do incredible damage here, or get something going, or he's going to be far behind in this game.
ZLO had some intentions to de-gun some of these units off, but he realized how large that army was. He cloaked his commander. There was an opportunity for Teddy to take the game right there.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if Teddy knows the commander's there, but yeah, he clearly can't go again. This unit's chasing him. He can't just turn around and go for it anyway. It is looking a bit rough here for Teddy, but to be fair, ZLO also got pushed down back in the corner again, and he fed right back in the bottom right. A lot of wrecks now.
A lot of wrecks, yeah.
Controlled. So yeah, this game is really back and forth. Very, very interesting.
I'd imagine these res bots are going to be what pulls the advantage out for Teddy. I mean, we see like in every theater where there's a res bot, right? So I mean, he's got some moving down to the bottom right. He's got some in mid.
And we can actually see in the metal produced, Teddy's finally ahead now, and I do think it's a reclaim pulling him up. Because I don't feel like he had better mechs control in terms of like the amount of mechs he has isn't that much of a difference. But yeah, the reclaim really paid dividends.
Oh, it's huge, and it doesn't even show like the res units, because like he's been reclaiming some here and there, but I want to say he's definitely been focusing on resing units. But oh my gosh, so many tanks in those main base.
But there's so many tanks defending, but it's so hard to shoot with all the wind turbines blocking the shots and the splash damage. I mean, it's gonna get cleaned up, but
not the most damage, I suppose.
Yeah, not the most damage. It looked more dramatic than it was.
Absolutely. Surprising enough, though, those construction turrets do a lot of DPS reclaiming units. It's kind of insane, actually.
Yeah, they reclaim the tank really fast.
See some cheeky construction vehicles like right outside ZLO's main base trying to reclaim. T2 factories up.
T2 for Teddy, and it doesn't surprise me with the amount of reclaim he's been getting lately. Like, he has so much metal, so T2 is not that expensive. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm actually surprised it came out this late. And the fact that he was pushing ZLO back with the T1 units, meanwhile he was managing to go T2, is a big deal, because ZLO is not gonna be happy when he hears T2 detected, right?
No,
because he's already on the back foot. He's already on the back foot, and with T2, that back foot is going to be maybe cut off soon here, so he's going to have to be careful.
Yeah, we've got units raiding on the like top right side of the map, just right outside ZLO's main base, and this is going to give a lane for these T2 units to come right up to ZLO's
The gig is up. The gig is up. He sees the bull. He knows T2 is out, and yeah, we see him just push. He knows he has to go right now. He has to deal damage right now, or Teddy's going to run away with the game at this point. And we see the desperate push from ZLO. Is it going to be enough?
I don't think so. He's running into beamer turrets, and there's bulls already on the field.
It's looking rough. It's definitely looking rough. But honestly, it's yeah. I don't think so. It's not looking likely, but
yeah, too much static defense that already in place, and he had a couple bulls. I mean, there's 3 bulls sitting right here that can just kite back against that. But he just has Janus and Lashers like left over. So
yeah. The bulls are doing so much damage. Yeah, GG's gonna be called.
Yeah, ZLO taps out. Wow.
Not surprising when you see T2 and bulls out, and you're still like feel like you're being pressured on behind. Like, how do you come back at that point? I think we just tap out.
So like, where do you think ZLO lost that game? Because it seemed so even there once it stabilized along the 4 lanes where you had just armies kind of facing each other, a little bit of pushes back and forth. I'm not sure.
I think it was a slow, insidious killer, and the issue he had, in my eyes, was that he never made Lazarus. He made it so late, or he didn't make it at all, and like he didn't have like the field control. The reclaim was just not there, and that's how Teddy got ahead. Actually, he went T2 with the reclaim on the field. He didn't go T2 with his economy, and yeah, that's the issue. I think instead of doing a secondary vehicle lab, he should definitely have gone for for
Bot
bot
lab.
lab. Yeah, he needed the bot lab.
So give me 1 minute. I'm gonna load into this next game, and we'll start it here in just 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. I'm loading into.
Yep.
Let me just check my chat so I don't feel left out. Unless ZLO lost at the last second, his last push, he accidentally left half his army behind. That could have been enough to punish Teddy for the T2. Yeah, that's definitely possible, yeah. Teddy has a big man, which is why he does not have enough units. Yeah, you guys are on point. You guys could be casters. OP. Did he pause this game?
I'm gonna skip and then pause immediately. So
Yeah, I'm still
Yeah,
loading. I'm gonna skip and pause.
all right.
Pause the 2 seconds, just so you know.
Cool.
I'm
So
gonna be just behind it.
so 3, 2, 1. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Game 2. If you're just joining us, this is a best of 3 series between ZLO and Teddy, and we're on Heartbreak Hill, Game 2.
Yeah, and on the left side, you saw him last game, in the red with the Cortex Commander, it is Teddy, very, very strong player. Let's see if he can close out this best of 3. On the other side, in blue, with the Cortex Commander too, they both switched to Cortex, that's interesting. We have ZLO looking to come back in this best of 3, right? Down 1 game, but he's not out of this. Last game was incredibly close.
So close for so long too. I mean, it's just back and forth for 29-minute macro game. It was insane.
Yeah, for 1v1 that was insane. We got to see T2 last game. Do you think we're gonna see T2 again?
I would reckon slow. I would reckon so. Actually, there's a weird phase in this game where it does kind of slow down. This is a really fascinating map. I don't know how often y'all have played on this, but there's so many hills, so many choke points, so many theaters. Like it ends up devolving into like a battle on the top plateau, a battle in the middle, and then a battle on the bottom plateau. There's like 3 theaters you kind of have to contest over on this map. So
yeah, that's a good point. I don't think I've ever seen this map before, honestly, especially not in 1v1. But what do you think they switched to Cortex? Do you think they, because of the bots, they want grunts instead of bots?
Yeah, absolutely. So this map is pretty strong for grunts. There's some choke points. Obviously, they're good at raiding and whatnot, but there's this weird It's difficult to get proper radar coverage on some points in this map, so I'm supposing that too can also lend to bot play as well.
Yeah, that is a good point, but I think this hill right before your base is kind of scary because bots can walk down this hill, right? And it's elevated right in front of your base. Like, you want control of that ASAP, because if your enemy has it, I mean, you're in trouble.
Yeah, definitely. So sometimes you'll see players make a really strong push through the middle, through that choke point on that first plateau, and then they're like right on top of your main base. So if they get in that position, it can be like really threatening, of course.
Yeah, wind is not that great though, so it's not gonna be super energy heavy map. I mean, 315 is okay, but it's not like 22 or some crazy number.
This is really interesting. Actually, you mentioned it, Teddy. Just like game 1 is adding on, he already has 4 solar collectors made, despite the fact wind was, I would say, kind of cooperating in the early game. It's not terribly low.
Yeah, early wind was good. Like 12 is good. You're happy when you see 12.
Yeah.
Right?
He
doesn't trust the wind.
Yeah, he's doesn't want to throw the game. So, whereas ZLO is just completely made wind turbines, has no solar collectors yet. So that's definitely a lot more mass efficient, and I'd argue even more wind efficient.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the energy income, ZLO is already ahead, right? So it's definitely paying dividends here. But to be fair, the wind has been very good lately, so it's not going to be good when it goes down to 3, right?
Definitely not. And so this is a great radar position from Teddy we see on this little high ground plateau. We see a lot of players just snap a radar up there. It's really quick, really easy to get to, and gives you a lot of coverage on the map.
Yeah, that is good coverage. And yeah, right now both players just trying to expand, get more mexes, get more eco, and ZLO, interestingly enough, he's not moving out with his commander. Meanwhile, Teddy is actually moving out already, meaning he doesn't have that much build power in his base, but he's building a construction tower already.
Yeah, about 50% done. Early. Yeah, for sure. Something I like to emulate in my own games is just like, you want to replace the build power you that your commander has when he leaves the main base.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I like to have the commander out in the field too. He's so efficient at building. Also very hard to like stop. Like if you want to use him to push. Very, very efficient unit in the early game. I mean, it is your commander. It's your best unit. At least in the early game.
I think I'm kind of sold on using him for a portion of the early mid game. It's like you can lock down a position on the map without needing units when you're commander. So it seems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's what I think. Teddy moving out is good for him, but we'll have to see. I mean, ZLO is definitely very, very strong, and he's expanding very fast without his commander anyway. So doing a great job of pumping out construction bots, just taking everything he can at this point, and it feels like he's defending Teddy's harass and pushes, but Teddy simply has less units right now, so ZLO could slowly take back map control at this point.
Mm-hmm. He's got some decent unit position too. We see like grunts on the top side, those blue grunts on that hill for now. They've got a construction bot behind it, adding up here, and of course in classic ZLO fashion, just completely naked expanding with this construction bot, adding on no LOTs till he's capped 7 mexes. So
yeah, exactly.
See that?
I mean, I get it. Those back mixes, do you even care about an LLT? Like if you lose them, if the enemy is there, I mean you have bigger problems probably. So I get the greed.
Teddy continuing to add on radar coverage and LLTs, kind of choking. Lucky.
ZLO funding damage. One construction bot sniped.
Oh, very nice catch. Yeah.
But I think he's happy about that. Honestly, he lost 1 grunt for 1 construction bot. You're definitely happy about that.
Yeah, that's an excellent trade for sure. Trying to get that res bot there. Looks like in the middle, ZLO kept that alive. So didn't see that early res bot from Teddy, and some of these trees actually have tons of energy in them. So like one of these trees like 800 energy, 600. So definitely a lot.
That is a good point. That's some big trees.
Some big fat trees.
And Teddy's gonna push back on the bottom side. He wants control of this quadrant, this bottom left corner. It's important. There's a lot of resources to hold here. And like you said, it's kind of like a mid, top, and bot map. Like mid, of course, the hardest to hold because it's so open. There's so many avenues of attack. But yeah, both players kind of heavy on the bottom and top because there's a lot of resources there. Actually.
There's so much mass to contest over. Yeah, absolutely. Which is kind of fascinating because it's like drawing your units and forces away from the center, which most maps you see like players are contesting the middle. So really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Map design.
The advantage of the middle on this map is not, as you said, economic. The advantage of controlling the middle side is that you can just strike wherever, which is very dangerous too. It's a different kind of advantage though. Like you have to be, like you can like dispatch the units where they're needed if you have information.
Which I guess back to our point about radars. I mean, you can put radars on any of these little hills and get complete coverage of the middle. So each of those six little hills or changes in elevation in the center have a nice cute little grunt versus grunt battle there going on.
Yeah, Teddy cleaning up his backyard here. He's saying, no, I don't want any grunts in my backyard. Please go away. Yeah, cleaning up. But on the bot side, ZLO has more. And he has a res bot, so he's actually going to resurrect units on the front line. Meaning all the trades he did earlier is just to ZLO's benefit right now. He's just going to get free units.
Yeah, we could see
he's
a follow-up attack there in the center. Teddy's doing a great job of expanding.
So many grunts going down. This is kind of scary for Teddy. Does he see it?
I'm sure he does. There's a radar. Yeah.
Yeah, he does see everything, so he knows this is coming. But I mean, he's making a tower. He has 1 tower up, but with this amount of grunts, is it going to be enough? It should be. I mean, the laser tower is really hard to snipe for the grunts.
For sure. I'd be more concerned about protecting that expanding construction bot, and it's just now finishing an LLT on that left side, so really kind of keeping ZLO out.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. On the other side, we see a grunt. Oh, he's actually got the construction bot. That's huge. He's gonna get the mix too.
Very nice trade.
That's so
actually.
Annoying.
And Teddy is like, this is like a cool play he made with his commander. He dove really far forward, has an LLT wall and some radars that just kind of protects everything behind it, so he can freely take the rest of that top plateau And it looks like he's moving into the middle with his commander, just adding on radars and LLTs as he moves.
But on the other hand, it's kind of scary because it means ZLO, he knows where the commander is, right? At least he just saw it right now.
Yeah.
And he could try and snipe it. Like, there's not that much. Like, imagine he just brings everything up and snipe the commander in.
He can surround it. I mean, there's just a couple grunts, a couple LLTs, and he's doing a good job of expanding slowly. So he's not like just running to the middle, running straight to the middle to try and cap it, add some X's and radars, but just kind of methodically, slowly moving down with his commander.
Yeah, exactly. And we see Teddy actually finally having his own res bots and getting some free units here after the skirmishes. But ZLO with the run by on the bottom left, this could be devastating. It's only one LLT. And Teddy answering.
Yeah, counter punching here.
Yeah, he's out of position. So his only play is to push himself. But this push from ZLO is scary. It's like his main base. And there's only one more LLT. Oh no, there's one on the hill.
There's one on the hill, and he's running into one right now. But still, I mean, there's not a lot of units between Teddy and the main base, or ZLO and the main base rather. But he's got a nice concave of these units coming off of the hill there and cleans up all this. This is not a good trade.
Yeah, this is a bad trade from ZLO. He lost everything there. And then, yeah, that laser tower did so much damage in that fight. And he couldn't focus it down because the units kind of screened for it. And in the meantime, Teddy, yeah, he pushed a bit too far here with the grunts. Gonna lose all of them too.
Ends up getting cleaned up. So he took out a couple of those exploiters in the mid. I mean, there's a lot of mass on that bottom plateau, but I mean, ZLO just donated 20 grunts that we see are getting rezzed in Teddy's main base. So he even produced a couple extra res pots you see that are going to be getting those back into the army as soon as they can.
Honestly, Teddy's kind of struggling with energy again, and we see him go, he's going full solar almost. I mean, no, he has a few wins here, but like building advanced solar.
Yeah, 15. That's interesting because like 15 wind speed seems like a little bit at the cusp between like bouncing between decent wind for your wind turbines, but also the risk associated with it. So maybe he just feels more comfortable adding on the advanced solar collectors.
Yeah, but for sure. I mean, ZLO is going full solar wind. I mean, and he's not struggling with energy at all. So
he's got a lot of thugs coming out onto the battlefield as well. So kind of seeding the aggressive, counter-punching, harassing game to just a straight push. Kind of, I'm wondering if this is he wants to get this commander out of the middle, Teddy's commander out of the middle with these thugs.
Yeah, now we finally see branching path between these two players. One going from grunts into thugs, and the other one going into air. Actually, Teddy just finished his air lab at home and just pumping out grunts. So gonna switch it up here. Maybe it was because he was floating a bit of metal and he knew that he could easily build it. Might as well. I mean, shurikens are gonna be a good throw off.
Shurikens are very cheap units. They're fast. They paralyze these like higher tech units. So it's going to be interesting to see how he chooses to use those or take engagements against these thugs. I doubt if he knows there's a lot of thugs streaming out into the battlefield.
And already Thrashers coming out from ZLO. Does he know Teddy this well? He hasn't shown air at all, has he?
I can't imagine he has, but I mean, you have to know 12 minutes into the game that your opponent can surely have air units out. And here we go. Teddy set up a huge arc around his opponent, and
yeah,
he's going to be moving in.
They're going to stun the exploiter to clean it up here.
That is,
and stun as many units as we can.
That is such a great... I mean, it's 250 mass, like one shuriken. It's like 35 mass takes out 250 mass worth of unit. It's just so insane.
Yeah, and he's going to get a lot of thugs here. I think he needs to spread out a bit more. The spread is not great. The thug splash is not big, but it's big enough when you clump them together.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't step through that checkpoint. So I think ZLO's going to be comfortable enough to step forward. He's got so many thugs. He's got Thrashers in tow.
Yeah, now ZLO actually, I think, is in a commanding position. Yeah, the Thrashers sniping the shurikens. Yeah, that is not what you want to see. They're cheap, but you still don't want to lose them.
So that seeing how this middle has been kind of taken by ZLO, we see Teddy splitting off, moving top, moving bottom with these big grunt armies, and is going to end up shaving off a lot of these mexes here in the bottom middle. ZLO trying to do what he can to get this reclaim and these rezzed units, but Teddy's already on top of it.
He's abusing the shuriken speed right now, knowing that there's no way the Thrashers can follow him, zooping all around the map, right? But the shurikens have such high speed. It's impossible to follow them.
So this is kind of a classic position where you have one player kind of controlling the outskirts, whereas ZLO's got control of the mid, but there's not a lot of mexes here.
The mid army is scary though. I mean, if that mid army pushes into Teddy's base,
Yeah.
how does he do? And Teddy, he's actually going T2 behind this? Is he insane?
He's has a T2 factory almost finished, and really, this is fascinating.
Oh
I mean,
my
he's
God.
got most of what his army is on his opponent's side of the map, even too. So if he can't really defend himself, as ZLO went to the main base right now, he would just instantly win the game.
Yeah, but of course it's hard to know that, and he desperately tries to shave off some mixes of his enemy because he knows, like, I don't have map control, I need to do something. But the thing you should do is actually just push his main base, of course. How can he know that? He doesn't know what's going on there. Oh,
So
but
what's
we
going to
see
be the
first
unit? It's going to be
fiends,
some
the
shit.
first
Yeah.
Sheldons. Oh no. Oh, this is going to be rough for ZLO.
How do you grind out enough value with I mean, he's just moving these slow thugs to the top portion of the map. Yeah, he's going to kill a couple of LLTs, a couple of mexes, but
mean,
like...
He has his own shurikens, and he does have a few fighters, meaning he's going to deny enemy shurikens. But is this going to be enough? The air switch? I mean, his army is huge right now, so
Yeah,
as long as he doesn't trade badly, he's fine. He's going to gain enough time, I think, to react, but...
And Teddy producing some fiends and shurikens out, so I'm wondering, these fiends are good at cleaning up like the T1 units that are left over, right? And these Sheldons
Yeah.
can just, I mean, look at the range on them. They can just start shelling these T1 armies from afar.
Yeah, but I think enough shurikens from ZLO could really do a difference here, because
Oh,
Teddy
you're
doesn't
right.
have
You're
a good
right.
answer. Teddy has like 3 fighters out, that's it, and ZLO has, how many does he have left?
Yeah, almost like
I
half
think
a
I saw a
dozen,
few.
8 or 9.
Yeah, if you take a look at 10 fighters out actually,
Not.
and bombers coming out from ZLO.
Oh, this is getting really tense. So we have like Teddy retook the middle, but ZLO has this huge thug army just walking right towards the main base. I'm wondering if he's gonna be able to get damage with this.
So scary. It's so scary. But he's gonna be notified of the T2. Yeah, he sees it now. He just saw it with a few fighters. Meaning ZLO knows about the T2 now, and yeah, he knows he needs to deal damage right now. The thugs are in a great position for this, but yeah, the fiends are gonna trade so well into the thugs.
Oh my gosh, he's got grunts running up, grunts and fiends, all these res units taking out all these thugs basically for free. That was a great trade from Teddy.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough, but the grunt push in the middle with the air cover, maybe it could do something.
Yeah, he's
How many bombers are done? Well, the bombers are moving. There's about 5 done right now. 8 total. 7 in the air. 7 in there, 1 building.
Alright, we're gonna have to
And
see where
I don't
he
think
actually where he goes.
There's
to
not enough. There's not enough anti-air, and I think he could actually even snipe the lab. And if he does, is it GG?
The T2 lab, you think, huh?
I mean, it's not enough bombers, but it could definitely do damage at this point. Like, he has 1 Tizzle. That's it. That's his anti-air right now. Like, how does he deal with this properly?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see, like, where is Logan gonna target with this? He's going for a bombing run on all these wind turbines here on the center, a little bit of a redundant attack there, and then yeah, he's gonna launch an attack against this lab, gets another bombing run off. Takes out.
I mean, there's not much to deal. And now the energy is so low for Teddy, is it not? No, it's actually fine, but...
Yeah, these advanced solar collectors doing work here, getting off another bombing run, even more damage coming through.
Yeah, it's not gonna get it. And now Teddy had enough time to put up enough AA that... Yeah, he's never gonna get it. But the damage done is not negligible for sure here.
I have to take
Like, Teddy was pushed back really far, to be honest.
He was, but I mean, look how much mass is on his side of the map. I mean, ZLO just threw his entire his entire army against Teddy. These T2 units stopped it. 5,000 mass, 2,400 energy sitting right there. You gotta get the trees.
Yeah, you gotta get something. Yeah, it's true. He fed so much metal, and he's not even T2, but he has so many res bots out. ZLO.
Yeah, ZLO went ahead and produced.
Definitely looking to get some of the reclaim as much as he can at least. But
I mean, it's on his opponent's side of the map, and now there's fiends in between these res bots and the reclaim field, right? So don't run your res bots into fiends, man.
Oh no, that is so unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, Teddy's gonna try and defend the reclaim. He knows. This is the only way ZLO gets a true advantage at this point, if he gets a reclaim. But right now, yeah, Teddy is sucking up all that juicy metal with a Twitcher. Very fast unit, very efficient.
Yeah, so the combat engineer, something I haven't had a chance to experiment with in my own games, and we see Teddy's moving into advanced metal extractors. He's trying to rebuild his energy economy. He's actually down to 750 energy per
I
tick.
feel like it's a bit. I feel like it's a bit greedy to go for advanced metal extractors when you still have so many basic extractors to take. No, because basic extractors are more worth per metal. Like they pay themselves back in a few seconds. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
meanwhile, it's like sure advanced are better, but it's a bigger investment too, for sure.
Yeah, more build power, more energy, and it's like you have the mass sitting right outside your main base. It's like you don't need to get this units into their coffers. So, I mean, where are we at here? We have some Shurikens doing what they can to deflect these fiends, and there's a few T2 units we see on the field, but Teddy doing a great job of spreading these out.
Not every day you see Teddy on T2 though in 1v1, right? So this is very interesting. Oh, and T2 from ZLO.
Okay,
almost
okay.
finished too.
Yeah.
He's gonna reclaim the lab. That should be enough metal to go full T2 here. So he's gonna answer T2 is T2, and honestly, you could think he was a bit late, but I think he's on time here. Because honestly, Teddy doesn't have that many T2 units, and with the shurikens, he's slowing him down enough that yeah, he's getting his bearings. And he's surviving long enough to get, yeah, he's pumping out fiends himself now. He's gonna be fine.
He has so much mass, though. I think he put up a metal storage, actually. He's got 1,800, almost 2,000 mass in the bank, and just has to, like, turn back on his energy economy to start spitting out these units, so...
Yeah, the bombing run really slowed him down. And that's why I think building the advanced metal right now, it's a bit of an energy drain, and maybe he should just try and scale his eco just a bit more. And we see, as I said, a fusion reactor coming down for Teddy. He's going full greed here.
Fusion.
He has the metal, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a great solution to his energy problems. All he has to do is get this turned on, and then he can spend his mass like really efficiently. He's got build power in the main base, right? So you've got some Shurikens here on the top side of the map. It's paralyzing these fiends here. We have one Thrasher in the back that's doing a great job of dealing with these.
It. Oh yeah, he paralyzed it.
Great control
Poor
there.
Thrasher.
He doesn't have enough grunts to kind of clean this up though, so really really vulnerable position.
Coming up, some units coming up, and it should be enough with the shurikens. Everything's stunned, so.
Meanwhile, in the bottom plateau, we see Teddy's kind of making a push here, trying to finally get the rest of ZLO's forces off of this. But I'm wondering if ZLO is gonna maybe counterattack with this. There's so many LLTs in the center and exploiters. Gonna be a tough trade to get.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's exploders. It's actually not a weak mix, but a tower in itself.
Yeah.
Very annoying to deal with. That's so much HP. Yeah, so much HP. Like so annoying to deal with.
So we saw Teddy kind of fly a couple of scouts across the map. He's trying to get information on what to do. This is really, really smart play, honestly. He needs to know what to start producing, where to start attacking.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like air right now, I mean, they both kind of stopped playing air because they went T2 and it's expensive, but like building air back up right now, I think it's could have its merit. Like look at all the wind turbines Teddy spotted, like a few bombing runs here and you just cripple his economy completely.
Stop that T2 unit production. So it really goes to show like having air control at this stage in the game. It's like you can put your shurikens like anywhere you want them and not have the threat of enemy fighters coming and clearing them out. So like say your opponent does push through and get some advantage, well you can just quickly clean it up or deal with the threat with these fast moving shurikens.
But Teddy is he's trying to fix his eco problem. He finally has fusion up, but now he's doesn't have enough build power actually to spend all his resources.
Yeah.
So actually building lots of towers, lots of nanos, trying to get that build power out and about. And I'm surprised he's still pumping out fiends. I would have expected a few Sheldons, honestly. But yeah, Sheldon's definitely worse for map control, but they're great for slowly taking down enemy defenses and going where they have put up some defenses.
That fusion solved all of Teddy's problems. He's got 4K mass in the bank. He's got almost triple the eco, double the energy eco of his opponent, and really just has to spend this mass and pretty much close the game out, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and ZLO doing a fusion of his own. Like the wind is kind of betraying him right now, and he's like, okay, let's not rely on wind anymore. Let's go for the real stuff. The fusion coming out, and it's gonna solve all his problems. But the issue is he's always one step behind Teddy in this game. So how is he gonna pull on him?
This is
he really needs this win, right? Or he's out.
yeah, and Teddy's done a good job of building up his air again. So he's got almost a dozen shurikens. He's gonna be moving into fighter production, I'm sure. He's getting some scouts out just to see where his opponent's at. Yeah, and is building back up this fighter screen.
Yeah, 23 shurikens actually for Teddy, and building more as we speak. So yeah, definitely not a shuriken army to scoff at. And yeah, a lot of air scouts coming out from Teddy. Clearly, he wants information. He wants to know, what should I build? What do I need to build to really finish him off, right?
Taking a look at the player view for a second, Teddy plays really far out at this point in the game. That's kind of interesting to see just how zoomed out he plays. I want to say ZLO does about the same style, although I have the visual bug going.
Oh, it's a bit to the side, you mean?
I think I actually messaged him about this. He said this is just like a visual bug or something like that. He doesn't play with that like skewed. It's like something in the client.
I was gonna say it's looking very cinematic.
Yeah. And we
at this point, it's interesting. We see that both commanders are kind of in the back. They know at this point in the game the commander is really easy to snipe, and they're being safe with them, right?
Yeah, ZLO's commander.
Safe.
Safe, off of the front lines, away from the units.
I mean, Teddy's being safe though. His commander's in the base, just a tower at this point, just a build tower, just chilling.
Still spending that mass. Looks like he finally got it spent all. 1,300 left in the bank, and it's just churning out fiends.
Yeah, he's just scaling up so hard on his eco, on upgrading all the mixes, and I mean, once he turns this back into military production, it's gonna be scary to deal with, because his income is gonna dwarf ZLO's income, and it's almost double at this point. I mean, ZLO is trying to catch up. He is upgrading his mixes too, but like, as we said earlier, he's just behind Teddy the whole game.
He's one step behind.
You can see the map control, right? 2/3.
Yeah, it's fascinating, really. Like, Teddy didn't find it necessary to close the game out. He just wants to go back to split map, get his mexes upgraded, and deny any kind of attacks or harassment. And he should win the game over enough time.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, as you said, he's happy not to push right now because he knows he doesn't have actually very good military production. So if he loses units, he has no response. Like, he doesn't want to risk it.
Right.
Also, I don't think he wants to feed at this point because, as you said, as long as he doesn't lose and just gives a lot of metal, or he does a bad engagement,
right,
as long as the game states is the same for a moment, he's gonna be far ahead of ZLO here. He's happy to scale and eco at this moment.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like the comeback mechanic really is the reclaim or a commander snipe at this point. So Teddy doing what he can to deny both.
Oh, the OP Spectre coming out of ZLO. Maybe it can turn the tide if he manages to get a good EMP off. I mean, those bad boys are so strong.
Yeah. So sorry. So these detonate an EMP bomb when they die. Is that correct?
You have to self-destruct them, and I think if you hold, I think you see the. I have a widget to see the area.
Okay.
Yeah. But you see. Yeah, you have to self-detonate them for it to work. Like, they don't do EMP when they just die. You have to do it yourself. It's very micro-intensive to pull off, but it's so strong.
A little bit of a skill shot, I'd imagine, yeah.
Yeah, and it takes 2 seconds for them to blow up, so you have to time it correctly too.
Teddy even going as far as strip reducing mines, has a minefield up on the top left. Can he make those with the combat engineer? Actually, not.
Yeah, you can make medium mines with the combat engineer.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a very good unit.
So really just locking down the map. He's got a wall of LTs, fighters, and shurikens here in the middle. So
and we got an AMP. You see the area is actually huge. 20 seconds stun on all the units. So that's a few units for free here. He gets to clean up if he pushes for it. I mean, he probably should. They're free, but
still have to get that DPS.
ZLO pushing back, and he's not scaling as much, but he's producing way more units right now than Teddy. I mean, Teddy is putting up a Juno. He's rebuilt his basic bot lab 4, the res bots 4, grunts.
Yeah, anti-air as well.
Yeah, some cheap units to raid too, because sometimes one grunt is all you need to get into the enemy backline, right? And then it just goes to town on the mixes and everything.
See, one of those invisible radar birds gets cleaned up, gets spotted, ran over by one of these fiends. And I think Teddy is sensing the end of the game here. He's stepping through the breach, through the choke point. He's looking for a fight here. Just really has to grind his opponent down, really.
If he groups up his units too much, and ZLO gets a great EMP off, it could be huge. We see, the mistiming on the EMP. Oh, this is gonna be really tough for ZLO. I don't see how he comes back at this point. Like, Teddy's so far ahead in terms of eco. He has shurikens, he has fighters. He's ready for anything at this point.
Yeah, he's got
with those covering him.
Wall of LLTs. He's got multiple walls of LLTs spread across the map. Just layers of defense, layers of static defense, exploiters, shurikens, and just.
Yeah, now he gets in some eco here in the bottom side, and I mean, he can run straight over the hill, maybe even start with fusion, and if he does, that is probably the end of the game. But no, he's gonna fall back a bit, and he senses blood in the water. He's gonna send his air into the shurikens, the fighters covering, and yeah, he's gonna win this engagement really hard thanks to the shurikens here.
And now he's got this high ground outside the main base, like we talked about earlier, and enough Sheltons to just to rain down fire on this base. There's nothing Slow can do at this point. You have Fiends running towards the main base.
Oh, he's getting the build power. That is GG. Yeah, GG is called. As soon as the build power is gone, I mean, you can't do anything for at least a few minutes until you build it back up. And
that was
too much.
That was a fascinating game, really. Teddy did a great job defending those attacks. It's unfortunate ZLO didn't have we're omniscient over here, and he could have just hammered right to Teddy's main base while he was transitioning to T2. But
yeah, and if you look at the graph, it's interesting because ZLO was ahead in the early game, and then at I think it's the 15-minute mark, he really fell off completely, and since then Teddy just scaled so much better and just controlled the game from there. So, very well played from him.
So that was the best of 3. Looks like Teddy took it down in 2 games. If they did play the third match for me though, so they were kind enough to play this 1v1 on Surtagata, and maybe
you think it's gonna be a 3-0?
3-0, yeah, 3-0 best of 3, right? That might be something maybe I'll just release at another date, but of course I'm gonna let this video run a couple minutes longer, perhaps a little bit of an anti-spoiler timing on the length of the video for anyone who's going to be watching this later on YouTube.
That's a good idea. I like that. I hate getting spoiled by the timer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never touch once I launch like a video, it's a best of 3, best of 5. I like to not see the bottom thing, just because I don't want to know. I don't want to get spoiled.
Yeah, absolutely. That was something I was having trouble, maybe a little bit of trouble coordinating with these 2 players, because I offered them $20 to 20 USD to whoever won this series, and ZLO set me off all 3 replays, right? So he was kind enough to to not spoil that for me, who actually won the series. So
yeah, that's actually great. That's actually great, because otherwise, after the first match who won. But yeah, I thought ZLO was going to take it back because there was 3 replays. So I was like surprised when I saw the state of the game. I was like, how the hell is he going to come back from this? Like, this got to be calm snipe, and it wasn't. Teddy just being solid all the way through and just, being methodical at that point. Like, he just said, okay, I'm not going to risk anything. I'm going to stabilize, make sure he can't get away with anything. I know I'm ahead, and by ecoing, I'm going to be even more ahead because, like, I'm going to be so much faster at getting everything out, at getting everything done. And then when I turn it back on, either he's still ecoing or he didn't eco and he's way further behind me. So,
right.
Not much you can do at that point, I think.
That maybe is the one frustrating thing about this RTS is like, because there's infinite resources, right? So you can just attrition your opponent out of the game, which isn't maybe the most interesting thing as a spectator, perhaps. But as a conservative player, if you're looking to get the W, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so many responses were accidental. Oh, ZLO in the chat. Damn, not rating top was bad. Yeah, when you look at the replay, of course, you see everything, and it's easy to know, oh, I should have done this, should have done that. But that's how it is. Yes, ZLO was ahead in the middle, early middle of the second game. He was ahead, right?
Yeah.
And the Tug army could have done so much work, but instead he went top. He should have beeline for the base, but like, you can't know that in the game. It's very hard to know.
Yeah, or let alone that your opponent is going into T2. And I mean, frankly, Teddy did a great job. He split off his grunts. Like, as soon as he lost mid, he split off his forces top and bottom, and then counterattacked so deep into enemy territory. And ZLO has to defend, and that just gave him all the time in the world to get that T2 units up.
I mean, to be honest, it's kind of a bluff saying like, oh, I'm gonna attack. Like, ZLO was too strong in the middle, so instead he avoided him completely and was like, okay, you're gonna attack mid. Let's see you defend the sides. So he goes full on the sides, and meanwhile he's bluffing completely because there's nothing.
There's no follow up. T2, yeah.
He's going T2. There's no follow up. There's nothing. It's just full green and pulled it off. I mean, hats off to Teddy. But I mean, yeah, that's a bold game plan for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, thanks for everyone for watching. Subscribe, of course, to Professor Var. He was kind enough to co-cast the game. Always a pleasure, sir.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what you guys say, if fully correct or what. I don't know, hard to say. I mean, you can rewatch the... I think the best way to know for sure ZLO is to rewatch the replay yourself. He had shurikens and he got one side for free with them. That's true, actually, but I don't think he had that many shurikens at that point, but you might be right. You might be right.
Yeah, it was just a couple of shurikens, took out the two. I think he's talking about the exploiters and the LOTs on the bottom plateau.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a great, because they kind of ran past each other with their armies there. I think it was like 10 minutes into the game, whatnot, and like, yeah, he donated, what was it, like 20 grunts there with that attack, so it was just like,
yeah.
I think that
the thing is, with a game like Bar, it's very hard to say what ifs, because sometimes something looks good and it's actually very bad. So I get what ZLO means. Like, should I have pushed mid truly? Was it a good idea? Or would it just have been caught by shurikens instead?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The truth is, I'm not sure, but it looked like an opportunity. Maybe it was a bad one, maybe it was bait, but yeah, I think the best way to know is look at the replay and judge for yourself, I guess.
Something I do in my own games, of course, is just analyzing losses is such a good, insightful way to kind of pick up what your opponent did well, what you did wrong. So I mean, there's so much to learn from losing in this game.
I know. I don't have the patience to look at my replay. I just get mad at myself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Send them to me, man. Send them to me. Yeah. I'll post them on the internet. So.
True.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, that was some fun casting. Actually, now that I have you here, would you be interested in casting a tournament with me? I'm hosting, and it's gonna be in 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, so yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. I'll give you more details later, but I just wanted to ask if you're like if it's something interesting or if you're gonna be available that weekend.
What format are you thinking? Like what style again?
I'm gonna announce the tournament officially in next weekend.
Okay.
My chat knows, but like I'm gonna have it announced on the official tourney stuff. It's a bit of a meme tournament. It's not super serious, but it's gonna be fun for sure. It's gonna be captain mode. It's basically gonna be 1 pro player with 3 noobs in each team. It's going to be captain mode, meaning if the captain, he only gets 1 commander. He can't res commanders, can't get commanders gifted, and if his commander dies, they lose the game.
They tap out.
Yeah, you still can't try to snipe the enemy captain. If that makes sense.
That's pretty interesting, man. Yeah, cool. So.
Yeah, and also I wanted to get some, get a chance for newer players to shine, to try the tournament live. Getting coached by the pro, obviously. So yeah, we're gonna see if people are interested in how good it works.
Looking forward to it, man.
All right, boys. I'm gonna leave you from Discord. Do I have more games in me, or is it gonna be end of the stream? I don't know, boys. I don't know yet. But Bar, I'm gonna say goodbye for short with you, and I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you very soon. I'm getting details after the stream today for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you too.
Yep.
See you soon, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, everyone. So that's the end of the replay. If you made it this far, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be sure to bring you more of these casts in the future. Thanks again, and see you in the next replay.